Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. I don't think this podcast... Oh, wait, what's today's date? July 22nd, Monday, 2024. I don't think that this podcast episode will be all over the place. It should be pretty decent. Should be okay. So, I went to leave, but I just got off a 1-week vacation. For anyone who doesn't know, I drive around a 97 white Pontiac. It's a little older of a car. And, I need to come up with a name for it, like the Conspiracy Mobile. I think that's what I'm going to name it, the Conspiracy Mobile. I had this ridiculous idea, too. I call it White Rabbit, my car. White Rabbit, a.k.a. the Conspiracy Mobile. I want to get rabbit ears to hook on the top of it. I know it sounds crazy. I wouldn't even know where to get them. I don't know. I had a feeling. So I went out to the car like 15 minutes before I have to leave for work. I got up super early today, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I ain't got to be at work till 11. I'm a maniac. Maniac. I tried to fix my sleep schedule before I came back because I started getting back on day shift sleep schedule, and I'm a third shift night stalker. So I had a feeling. I was like, oh, I haven't drove White Rabbit in a week. By the way, showered and shaved, got a haircut. I cut the back of it. I don't know if you guys can tell. New pants. Yeah, I'm a new man. I feel nice and refreshed from my vacation. Had some fun, got some work done. Finally figured out the monetization on Rumble, and I made so far 11 cents from I think 8 episodes, maybe a little more. So, happy about that. I guess what was going on was my wife was looking up videos on YouTube of how to make money on Rumble. And it was all people talking about I guess kind of scams or loopholes or how to make money on Rumble quick. But it wasn't anything about monetization, qualifications, or anything like that. And YouTube could be taking videos off their website or promoting the wrong videos on purpose because Rumble's a competitor. Now, what I was saying about the cars, where this is an older car, older vehicles, older cars, four-wheelers, golf carts, dirt bikes, shit like that, motorcycles, you're supposed to go out and start them. They say every 2 weeks. It honestly, better safe than sorry. It would be better, in my opinion, if you started them once a week. So this car didn't run for a week. So when I went out there, I'm like, let's see if she starts. Nothing. Not even a click. I was like, oh man. So the way I'm parked too, there's no way I could have got a car up there to get jumped. But I told you guys, for $150, me and Sammy got a jumper. And it's good to keep in your car, have it charged up. But it's also good for Cyber Polygon. By the way, shameless plug, I'm in the middle of a series. We're almost halfway through the book of an audiobook with commentary on Leave the World Behind, which is all about Cyber Polygon. This jumper has plugs that go into it, air compressor, so you can actually as long as the jumper itself is full battery, you can actually run stuff off of it, like maybe a hot plate, maybe a fan, maybe whatever. You know, charge your phone off of it. All sorts of stuff. $150. I would invest in one. So I got the car started. That was my excitement. And as far as the intro too, I have a new co-host, Lamb Chop. And I like him. I'm gonna use him as a noise when we're going into new segments. And I already know I'm actually gonna get into it today, but I wanted to add some goofy sound effects to this podcast for just a little bit of excitement. And we talk about dark shit, and it would be helpful to lighten the mood a little bit. So that's Lamb Chop, my co-host. But I need to come up with a different name so I don't get sued by Lamb Chop. I thought about this. Like 2 podcasts ago, I played a clip, a little short story about Lemmy from Motorhead. Motorhead's like one of my favorite fucking bands. It's awesome driving music. It's awesome workout music. Motorhead and Danzig are both awesome music to work out to. I know Danzig worked out, him and the Misfits. I don't know if Lemmy worked out or not. I think he just kind of drank alcohol and read history books on World War II and such. He actually was a historian of World War II. There's an awesome documentary. Can't remember what it's called, but it was a friend bragging about Lemmy on how Lemmy was literally an amateur World War II historian, because he read that much and studied World War II that much, that him and Lemmy were sitting on his messy ass couch. He was a mess, his whole apartment. But he did have some historical rooms. His house was almost a museum with how much shit he had. Especially like World War II daggers and swords and shit. Knives and shit like that. Pretty cool shit. So they're sitting on his pigsty of a coffee table and couch, and they're watching a World War II documentary. And they're talking about some plane. I can't remember if it was American or Nazi. And Lemmy's just like, hey man, I'm probably going to do a horrible Lemmy impression, but he's like, hey man, that's not accurate, dude. You know? And the guy's like, what? What are you talking about? It's on History Channel. Like, of course it's accurate. And he goes, no. And he gets up, goes to his bookshelf, pulls out some huge book on World War II, flips right to the plane, starts reading it, and he's like, that's accurate. Not this. These people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And the guy was just amazed at how much he knew historically about World War II, that he could just listen to like this guy talking about a plane and go, no, that's wrong, you know. But anyways, we can call Lamb Chop from here on out Lammy. So introducing my new co-host, Lammy. Alright, Lammy can sit there. But let's get on with the show. Like I said, it might be all over the place. Who knows? So, Jacob Israel just got in a car wreck. I just watched the video on it. It was a short, like 20-minute video. So go watch that video out. Shout out to Jacob Israel. Go like and subscribe to him. He was pretty emotional in this episode. He didn't like full-blown cry, but he was getting teary-eyed and his voice has been shaky. And he was talking about he knows that his son hates hearing it. But he has guilt that he got in the car wreck. Because I guess they were going through a rich neighborhood. It was him, his wife, and his son. And they were driving one of his bigger vehicles. He has 2 cars. His car, he said, is like a little mouse car, kind of like mine. And he's like, dude, if we were driving around in the little mouse car, like, it would have been worse and people could have gotten hurt, injured, and or died, you know. Apparently, they had ran into someone because of a blind spot on property. He talked to the police and said, you know, like, is there anything we can do about that? And they said, no, it's private property. Some millionaire owns it, and it's his decision whether he wants to cut it or not. I mean, at that point, if I was Jacob, I would try to contact the person and not threaten him, not sue him. This is just my advice. I would see if you could talk to him. Be like, hey man, there's been multiple wrecks because there's a bunch of bushes and trees and people can't see and shit. And they're slamming into each other. Someone's gonna get hurt and die or something. But he was saying he has a lot of guilt. And misery loves company. And I'm gonna share a story that happened to me when I was a teenager because I felt a lot of guilt when it happened. I was dating my ex-wife. Her name was Dina Lewis, aka Dina Williams. It doesn't matter because she's deceased now, so if you want to stalk her, you can't stalk her. And she was cremated, so she doesn't even have a gravesite. So good luck with finding an urn full of ashes. Well, we were dating. We were both in high school. And I was driving a Saturn at the time. And went out to where she was living in this trailer out in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking the country, man. And we hung out, and pretty sure I had smoked some weed. I didn't have alcohol, I don't think, but I did smoke weed that day, like 2 or 3 hours before. And I didn't smoke much because even when I was younger, I started slowing down and being more careful with shit. And I didn't want to be high while driving and shit. But I mean, I guess I wasn't high at all, you know. But we were heading out to go somewhere. I don't know what we were doing. Probably trying to figure out somewhere we could bang or get weird. And when I say this is out in the country, I mean there's like 10, 15 foot cliffs and shit, curvy ass roads. And we were listening to Sublime and had it blasting. And I was talking to her. I looked over for too long, looked back, and started fishtailing because I was overcorrecting, trying to make it safely around this curve. And at the time, my wheels were bald as hell. I remember my wheels were bad. They were pretty bald, but I was poor. I was working probably some shitty part-time job at the time, or maybe even just a tutor, for 3 days a week, 5 hours a day, making nothing. And we went over a cliff, nosedived, slammed straight down into the nose, flipped over upside down. By the way, this is my new Lord of the Rings ring I was talking about. Sadly, it's plastic, but I like it. It was $3. Sammy bought it for me on our vacation when we went to a thrift store. It was either this or it was a Freemason Order of the Eastern Star pin, and I wanted to get it and start wearing it. By the way, I'm not a member of Freemasonry or Order of the Eastern Star, but I wanted to wear it just to be a troll because people in the conspiracy community are so fucking sensitive about shit that I wanted to be a troll, you know. And honestly, one thing I learned, because one of my inspirations is Howard Stern, and he taught me this, that bad publicity is good publicity. Any form of publicity is publicity. So if there's channels, YouTube channels of conspiracy channels that want to expose me as a member of the Illuminati or whatever, please do. It's a free commercial for my channel. Yeah, we wrecked the car, and it was dark. And as soon as we got out, we crawled out. I was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" She hurt her leg, and she had dislocated her leg, and we didn't know. And I hit my head on the roof. Luckily, I'm like Goku. I have a really strong, big head, if you haven't noticed. And we crawled out, and I hear trickling, liquid trickling. And I just start screaming, "Get away from the car, it's gonna blow up," you know. And we run about 15, 20 feet away. And she goes, "That's a creek. It's not gasoline." I said, "Oh, sorry." So anyways, we get out of the cliff somehow. I think we just crawled up the side, jumped the fence. She was in shock, so she was cutting herself on barbed wire and shit. And I kept telling her, "Chill out, calm down, it's okay." Went to the doctor, hospital. They put me in a neck brace, checked out my head. Luckily, they didn't drug test me, because I probably could have got a DUI and all sorts of shit and ruined my life at a young age, even though it had been like 3 hours since I had smoked. But doctor checked her leg out and shit, said there was nothing wrong with it. 2 weeks later, we find out she had a dislocated leg. She went back to the doctor because she kept limping and having to use a crutch. She's like, "Dude, this doesn't feel right." She went back to the doctor. The doctor's like, "Dude, your leg's been dislocated for like 2 weeks. He just pops it in. She screams, and she's like, "Seriously?" We could have probably sued the doctor. We should have. We could have made a lot of money. But the point was, like, I was crying at the hospital in front of everyone. I was crying the next day when we went back out to her house and pulled the car out. And it was just, I felt guilt, man. I mean, when you love people, you feel guilt and shit. And you don't want to hear it at the time, Jacob. But I promise you, we promise you, that shit happens that's out of your control. And I know you don't want to hear it right now, but it's okay, man. You know, and take it as a good thing that you do feel guilt, you know, because if you didn't feel guilt, you would be a sociopath or a psychopath. But that guilt will go away. Just let it go away and shit. You know, it'll take some time, but I promise you it's okay. But it was kind of a serious episode for Jacob Israel. He even said that, and here lately he's been talking about it in general. People are so mean in the conspiracy community, especially the Christians. I'm sorry, I don't care if it pisses y'all off or not, but I watch conspiracy channels that are Christian, and y'all's comment sections are more toxic than non-Christian conspiracy channel comment sections. So, pretty sure that's not what Jesus would have wanted. But another reason I got Lammy was because Jacob Israel does a lot of props. Sam Tripoli does some props here and there. He uses a bell on one of his channels called Conspiracy Social Club, and whenever the two hosts start arguing, whoever wins the argument and whoever's correct gets to ring the bell. Jacob Israel does a lot of props. He'll start his episodes out sometimes blowing is it called the shofar? The Israeli ram horn that the ancient Israelites used to blow and stuff. You know, and he's horrible at blowing it. Sorry, Jacob, but you're getting better. But he'll blow that at the beginning of episodes. He does comedy skits where he's got one where he's an Irishman, which he is Irish in real life. I think he's Irish Italian. Second generation off the boat or something. Deborah gets red pilled. They have a little bell, a table bell that they hit. So yeah, I was like, I need something. Like I wanted a clown horn. I wanted a little bell, something. So I ended up getting a doggy toy. But I kind of like props, you know. For one, like when you're just listening to a podcast, it's complete silence unless somebody stitches music over it, which that's something I want to dabble in and figure out to do. So a little noise kind of breaks it up, especially if you're doing segments, like change of topic, you might hit a bell or something, you know. But people in his comment sections have been talking shit about it, like, you're too silly, you're too goofy. You need to be more serious and stuff. And I don't know, I guess this car wreck kind of like broke something loose inside of his head. And he was even saying, like, you know, I've been getting comments all the time here lately that I need to be more serious and stop using props and stop being goofy. And where he's already down emotionally, feeling guilty, sad, and almost crying, he's like, yeah, I'm going to start being more serious. And I'm like, thanks, guys. Thanks, you Christian commenters. Now Jacob's gonna become more serious and shit. I don't want that. The reason I like Jacob is I feel positive after watching his episodes. I like his goofiness. You know, even if I have a weird sense of humor too. I have a dark sense of humor. I love Sam Kinison, Bill Hicks, Doug Stanhope. Those are my favorite type of comedians. But even I like that he's trying to be funny, you know. It's not my cup of tea, but I enjoy in general that he's podcasting and adding goofy sketches, and I love that shit, you know. He's a goofball. So, I don't know, that kind of aggravates me that his comment section is so toxic that now he's going to change his personality. Another thing too is he was saying that people bring up that he brings up whenever his synchronicities or prophecies come true. And they think he's being egotistical about it, and he's not. He's just saying, hey, isn't this weird? Isn't this crazy? And it is interesting. That's been his shtick since ever I knew him. And I don't care if I sound woo-woo or not, but I do think that God, the creator of all, has his hands on Jacob and is using him. And I think that he is getting signs and prophecies and dreams of the future. And I watch his videos, and to me, like, I would say like 85-90% of it lines up. Now there's a couple times obviously here and there I'm like, oh, that's a stretch, Jake, but you know, it doesn't matter, you know. So he's gonna stop giving himself credit, he says, for shit that comes true. Does this mean that he's not going to mention dreams or synchronicities or prophetic feelings or visions and stuff? I don't know. If he stops doing that, doesn't that kind of make it to where he won't be able to create content anymore? His 30-minute podcast will become 5-minute segments of him just being serious, because now you guys are trying to take away his goofiness, take away his props, take away his skits. Now you're taking away his prophetic feelings and him talking about prophecy and stuff. Like, what else is he going to have? Hey, this is the most recent conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. 5 minutes goes by. Okay, see you guys. I say ignore him, Jacob. You keep doing what you're doing. Because clearly you are doing something right. Because I'm not trying to say woe is me or I'm jealous or anything, but I've got 382 subscribers. You've got thousands of subscribers, so fuck the haters. And I know you don't like to cuss. You only say hell or damn every now and then, or ass, but once in a blue moon you cuss. But yeah, fuck the haters, dude. I'll say it for you since you can't, because you're a good Christian. Y'all suck. Let's see, he's got some weird shit going on, dude. I guess in that car wreck he hurt his ear. And he's hearing crackling and stuff. I just think it's real strange that this happened right after Trump got shot in the ear. Like I said, I think that the creator of all has his hands on Jacob and is using him. And yeah, I think that's not a coincidence, my friend. I think that God is trying to tell you something. I don't know what it means, but you fucked your ear up. Trump fucked his ear up, same time. Weird shit. And this is something I came up with. I did a whole episode on voice to skull technology. I think it was a live stream, and I think it's somewhere on YouTube. So go check it out. I think I was a victim of voice to skull technology, and it sounded kind of like that, of crackling in my ear. Now mine went a step further and I started hearing radio that sounded like old 1930s talk radio, and it was real weird. I could hear someone on the other end be like, yeah, well, wait a second. He can hear us. Yeah. And then I could hear fragments of like 1930s jazz bands. Needless to say, I was fucking high out of my fucking head, so but I think I could have been on the right wavelength mentally and spiritually, that I was hearing some voice to skull shit or catching some radio waves. Something was sitting in the right spot in the right house or whatever. People could call me crazy, I don't care. I've seen TikTok videos of people grabbing onto plants, and then you can hear radio waves like from the plant, and then they'll let go, it'll go away, they'll grab onto it. So I think sometimes you can catch some radio waves and shit if it ain't voice to skull. And I'm not trying to freak old Jakey out, but that's my conspiracy. You guys come here for conspiracy. That's what I gotta say. Oh, he showed like his, it was either documents from the cop or from the hospital, but apparently the wreck happened at 111, which 1111 is angelic numbers, very good numbers. And anytime triple digits come up, I always make a wish on them. So I made a wish when they brought it up there in his episode, you know. On the way here to work, I seen 1212 on my car radio because I haven't changed the time on it. I made a wish then. I believe that's the angels trying to give us their blessing or tell us something. And then it said that the police officer who was handling his case, or the cop that came to the scene of the crash, his name was Smith. And Jacob, apparently, I'm going to watch his, not last video, but the one before. Apparently, he was getting pretty deep into the Matrix and Agent Smith and Neo and all that. I'm going to go check that video out. So, another shout out to Jacob. Go check his video out on that. The cop's name was Smith, so Agent Smith. Weird synchronicity. Of course, that's Jacob bringing that up, and all of his fans want him to stop bringing up synchronicities. So once again, what the fuck is the guy allowed to talk about? I retreat. Oh, another thing too, I did a whole episode called Jacob was challenging people to debates, and I accepted. I did a whole podcast episode on accepting his debate challenge. And so I want this to be like an official retraction, which I did have a fake wrestling promo, a skit that I was going to do and film. I'm going to put that on hold. I'm going to retract my statement and at least postpone it till he's feeling better. And, yeah, till this passes, you know. I'm like, fuck, of course that's the timing that here I am being a fool, trying to be funny, do skits and shit. And he gets in a car wreck and his family gets hurt and shit, you know. So I do retract that. And, I just feel like some time needs to pass. Maybe we'll debate on down the road. Who knows? I think that's it, man. Oh, something weird that he brought up, another synchronicity which his fan base wants him to stop doing. The lady that hit them, or the lady they hit, was his wife Dan's babysitter growing up. So I don't know. I think God works in mysterious ways. I do think that's insane, and maybe God is trying to involve her in you guys' life, Jacob, you and the Dan's life. So maybe you should stay in touch with her, and I don't know. I think it's something to that. But I'll let y'all go. It's technically conspiracy related this episode. We got into another conspiracy channel and I wanted you guys to know. And I like Jacob Israel. I'm a fan. That's why I wanted to talk about him for a little bit. And Jacob, I know I'm an occultist, but I do pray to the creator of all. So I'll pray for you if that means anything. And maybe I'll light my St. Jude candle. Say a prayer for you, and maybe a white candle too. I hope that means something to you. I hope you're cool with an occultist praying for you, but I love you, Jacob. I don't want you to change. I want you to keep doing your little skits. I want you to keep telling us about your prophecies and stuff, because I believe in you. And I love you. I hope this too shall pass, Jacob. That's what I always say. That's what my oldest brother taught me. This too shall pass. Things will get better. Stop beating yourself up. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. I love you. And I hope you have a good day, all of y'all.